Buenos dias a todos and welcome to beautiful sunny Spain for this, the inaugural running of the Euro 4 Championship. It is the double points final round here at the home of the Spanish Grand Prix. Great to have your company for this, the third round of the first ever Continental Championship for the outrageously successful Formula 4 category, which was launched 1 decade ago. As you can see, as always here in beautiful Spain, the sun is shining. There was some fog over the circuit this morning, but it has burnt off nicely. A little bit of cloud cover, and we could say there was 3 drops of rain last night, but that would be probably overstretching things. It is a dry circuit as the cars come out onto the grid for what is the final championship season race on the continent for 2023. We're racing here together with the GT Open International and Euro Formula Open Championship. Of course, many of the national series have wrapped up. Last week, of course, at the Eternal City of Rome at Vallelunga, the Italian Championship was won by the Polish driver for the German team, US Racing. US Racing also taking pole position this morning with one of 2 New York drivers, Akshay Bora, who will start on pole position for race 1 and race 2 tomorrow morning. Still a few moments away from the start. As you can see, the 3-minute board goes up here at the Spanish circuit, built back in 1991, host circuit of the Spanish or the Catalan Formula 1 Grand Prix for the best part of the past 3 decades. And the host venue for this, the 3-round challenge, the 3-round Euro 4 Championship for 2023, Monza, Mugello, and here in sunny Spain for the championship final. As it stands, Arvid Lindblad is the championship leader. We'll get to that in a moment because we'll take a look at the grid first. Akshay on pole, James out of 2, Tuukka Tappinen out of 3, and Ugo Ugachuku, who will start on pole position for race 3 tomorrow, the American out of grid 4. Then we go to Arvid Lindblad, who is the championship leader. Gianmarco Pradel, also for US Racing, the driver from Sydney, out of 6. Fast Freddy out of 7, alongside the Italian Brando Badoer, Rashid Aldeheri, Zachary David, Ricky Liu, the 2 US Racing drivers together, and Aurelio Nobels for the Prema Racing team. The Ferrari Junior is ahead of Frederick Lund. Giacomo Pedrini, who now lines up for the Dutch Van Amersfoort Racing team. Lynn Hodenhuis for Van Amersfoort Racing is the Dutch driver. Tina Hausmann, Diego Della Torre, and Nicola Lacorte. You can see the Italian, the Tuscan, no time set. He did an extra lap accidentally when he had a failed radio and took the checkered flag twice in qualifying. Basically did 1 more lap than he should have and therefore had that qualifying time deleted. And the Tuscan, who won in his national series earlier on in the year at Imola, will have to start on the back of the grid. Great to have your company here this morning at Spain, or this afternoon, I should say. 3 races here this weekend. Race 1, race 2 tomorrow morning, and race 3 tomorrow afternoon. The inaugural running of the Euro 4 Championship, the European Continental Series, bringing together the best drivers from national championships around Europe for this 3-round challenge. The 2024 calendar has been announced. We'll get to that in a moment as the cars set off on their formation lap. I'm not mistaken, that's Nicola's mother there to the left of screen, which means Roberto, buongiorno a te. He's here at the circuit somewhere after racing at Road Atlanta, Petit Le Mans last week, where they brought their Ferrari 296 home after it was heavily damaged in practice. Roberto will catch up after the race as the 30-second board goes up here in sunny Spain. Race 1, round 3, the 2023 Euro 4 Championship at the modified Spanish Grand Prix circuit. Of course, the chicane has been removed, thankfully. Pleasingly, we should say, has made the track around about 5 seconds a lap faster. The formation lap in just a moment. That is Akshay to the right of your screen, who lights up the rear tyres. Lays down 2 tram tracks nicely does Akshay, emerges from out of the shadows underneath the grandstand and leads the field down into turn 1 into beautiful sunshine. So the championship looks like this. Arvid Lindblad, 86 points. Ugo, second in the series on 83 points. Kasper Stuka, who won the Italian championship. That was his last Formula 4 race last weekend. He is not racing here this weekend. He is watching on live. He's still celebrating. Congratulations once again, mate. 74.5 points. So he is still third in the championship. But of course, that will change in half an hour's time. Akshay Bora, the American, on pole position, is fourth in the series on 71 points. James Wharton, 65 points at P5. Then we go to Brando on 28.5, Zachary on 28, Ivan Dominguez also on 28, Tuukka Tappinen, 22 points, ninth in the series. Rashid Al-Daheri, 21 ahead of Nicola Lacorte, and Gianmarco Pradel on 10 points in 12th place. However, 25 points, a Formula One point scoring system for the Euro 4 Championship. The final round, double that as Gianmarco goes through behind Arvid. Traditionally, 25 points, Formula One point scoring system this weekend, ×2, so 50 points for a victory will launch you into championship contention. So Casper P3 at the moment, but that will change in a matter of moments. 50 points for a win, which means the championship is wide open. As Diego De La Torre and Tina Hausmann come down the hill. In the background, there is Nicola Lacorte in car 47. As you look at Aurelio Nobels, the Ferrari Junior, the Brazilian for Iron Thames. Position 12 in car 16. There is Gianmarco, one of two Australian drivers in the field, the driver from Sydney on the podium at Mugello in the Italian Championship. James Wharton, of course, out of Grid 2. There is Arvid Lindblad, the British driver. James, who won the United Arab Emirates Formula 4 Championship to start 2023. There is Akshay on pole position, one of two drivers in the top 4 from New York in the United States of America. His father, Bunty, watching on live from, I don't know where you are in the world at the morning, or at the moment, whether it is early morning in New York, Bunty, or over in Singapore or somewhere. But that is your boy on pole position in car 31 for the German US racing team. Frederick Lund in 30. That's Giacomo Pedrini, the Minardi management driver. Managed by Giovanni Minardi, the son of the great Giancarlo Minardi, in car 53. There is the green flag at the back of the grid. The 5 red lights for the first time this weekend here in Spain. We race. Perfect start from James Wharton, goes down the inside, does the Australian. Akshay Bora tries to cover him off. There's Arvid Lindblad on the inside, Tuukka Tappinen around the outside. Lindblad tries to send it and take all 3 of them. What a start from the Englishman. The Red Bull Junior goes through, was briefly in position 2. 2 drivers, 3 drivers going the long way round, and a relatively clean start as we get underway here in Spain. There is Bora back into second place. James has got the race lead. Lindblad, who is briefly into second place, the Red Bull Junior on the outside in position 4, and now he's been pushed offline into the marbles. He's just ahead of Ugo Chuko as the field comes swarming down the hill. Watch out for Slater, car 51 for the Prema Racing team. His teammate James goes P1. Lindblad, who was attacking for the lead, now has to defend. There is Brando on the outside. So a clean start for the first of 3 races here this weekend in Spain. Brando going through just ahead of Freddie. We go back to Zach, then it's Gianmarco Pradel, Ricky Lou, Rashid Al-Daheri, Lord Nobels, Leon Hodenues. Lacorte already goes by Giacomo Pedrini, Tina Hausmann, and the Mexican Diego De La Torre. James with a lead of 0.4 of a second, back to Akshay, the pole sitter, who had to attack and defend. At the same time going down into turn 1, Pradel fighting with the Emirati, Rashid Al-Daheri. There's Tina Hausmann. On the back of Pedrini, Lacorte, Hodenues and Nobels across the line for the first time. The gap is half a second between the Australian and the American. James checks the right side mirror. Back to Akshay Bora, down into turn 1. The battle rages in the background. Brando, the big defensive move on Zach. And it's Pradel, Al-Daheri, Ricky Lou up into P11 in car 66 ahead of Frederick Lund as Tina has to take the long way round, joins in behind Diego De La Torre. The two AKM Motorsport drivers. Now there's the two Van Amersfoort Racing drivers. They're both fighting as well. 30 is Frederik Lund. 74 is the rookie Lynn Hodenues. The Dutch driver also racing in Porsche Carrera Cup throughout 2023. Also racing in the Spanish F4 Series as Pradel still defends from Rashid Albaheri. The second lap, the opening of 3 races here this weekend in Spain. Wharton with a nice lead, pulling away slightly in that sector as well. There is Lynn in 74. Down into turn 10. Lindblad going through. As we get news from race control, there's Ricky Liu in 66. That turn 1, lap 1, is under investigation. The pass on the grass, well, in fact, it was on the gravel and the bitumen. The endless runoff area, which controversially still is at the outside of turn 1 here in Spain. It is under investigation. No further information from race control as Freddie Slater goes through in 51. At the moment, the Brit in position 6. James has got the race lead. It's out to 0.6 of a second back to the pole sitter. But stand by because turn 1, lap 1, race 1 is under investigation. There's Lindblad, Ugachukwu, Slater, Baduea, David, Pradel, and Rashid still in P10. Fantastic shots by the team here at Spain in the Euro 4 Championship. The helicopter shot here in Catalonia, the home of the Spanish Grand Prix since 1991, as Lindblad lines up, tries to get the run on his fellow Brit. And still this battle between the two VAR teammates rages on. 30 is the Nicaraguan Dane Frederik Lund, fighting with 74, Lynn Hodenues. Aurelia Nobels is not far behind either. She's dropped 2 places off the start, but still in contention for that battle. Duke Tapaden, car 8, P3. Head of Arvid Lindblad, Ugachukwu. There's Slater, 51, who took pole position on debut at the Monza round, the first of 3 rounds for 2023. The former World Kart Racing champion. Behind his countryman, there is Arvid Lindblad, the former WSK Supermaster Series, WSK Euro Series kart racing champion with Kart Republic. Slater in 51. The 3rd national F4 championship he has raced in. Actually, I shouldn't say national. The 3rd F4 championship he's raced in. 2 rounds of the Italian Series, 2 rounds of the British F4 Series. Also won the Ginetta Championship back in England as a 14-year-old in 2023. And also racing in the Euro 4 Championship, lining up for a full attack on 2024 as Wharton gets sideways slightly out of turn 1. A close-up of Akshay, the gap, 0.6 of a second. Arvid Lindblad with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:42.526. So still some way, obviously, off their qualifying time at the moment. As the field spread out here in Spain, the opening stages of the first of 3 races, the final round, the double points round of the inaugural running of the Euro 4 Championship, as we close in on Arvid Lindblad, who was testing here just 2 weeks ago in the FIA Formula 3 Championship with the Prema Racing team, which, well, let's be honest, it does give you a fair idea of what the British driver, the Londoner, will be doing in 2023. At the moment, he's in position 4, and he's the fastest driver on the circuit. A 42.526, 42.595 for the race leader last time round, James Wharton. Fabulous shots once again from the helicopter here in Barcelona. The gap, half a second. Prema Racing, US Racing, 2 drivers from the Prema Racing team in 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th. Back to Brando in P7 for the Dutch Van Amersfoort Racing team. There is Hugo. Remember, came into this final round of the championship, 2nd in the series by just 3 points to Arvid Lindblad, so that will change dramatically after race 1. Double points for the series final, the 3-round challenge for 2023. Lindblad just ahead of Ugachukwu, the McLaren Junior. Emanuele Pirro, the 5 times at Le Mans 24-hour winner, arriving at the circuit last night, overseeing the McLaren Junior Driver Development Program. And he was very pleased this morning, obviously, with Ugo taking pole position for race 3, which will be held in just over 24 hours' time. The McLaren Junior in car 3, the driver from New York in what we believe is his last ever Formula 4 race. Second in the Italian Championship last week, third in the British Formula 4 Championship in 2022. He's provisional, that statement, stand by. And now the American with a 42.487. The field streamed down into turn 10, hard braking through the left-hander. Bora still sits behind the Australian Wharton, managing the tyres. 2 sets over 3 races plus qualifying here in Spain, as Lindblad catches up to the back of the Ferrari Junior from Finland, Tuukka Tappinen in car 8 in position 3. Car 3 with Lindblad, fabulous shot here as they come down out of what used to be the chicane here in Spain. Such a better racetrack now, incidentally. Just as a comparison, pole position, a 141.29 for Akshay Bora. We go back to the Spanish Formula 4 Championship in 2022. As Arbor gets sideways down through turn 1. A 146.8 for Nikola Zoloff, the Bulgarian Lion, last year in the Spanish Championship. So what, 141 versus 146. Around about 4.5, 5 seconds. Here's the difference. I'll try and do the mathematics for you exactly before race 2. But let's just say a 46.85 for Zoloff last year in the Spanish Championship with the chicane. We removed the chicane, thankfully, as we did for the Spanish Formula 1 Grand Prix this year, which was, of course, won by Max. And it goes from a 46.850 down to a 41 dead this morning. 5 seconds a lap faster without the chicane, which was added a couple of decades ago and removed in 2023. Lindblad closing in on the back of Tappinen. He is catching the Finn, the Red Bull Junior on the back of the Ferrari Junior, but it is the Ferrari Junior from Melbourne, Australia. James Wharton in position 1. Pulls away another 1/10 of a second. The gap is 0.742. You can see the graphic at the bottom of your screen. Bora is losing time to James in car 13. Ugachuko ahead of Slater, Paguea, David, Pradell, Rashid Al-Bahedi, Ricky Lou, Hodenues, Lun, Nobels, Pedrini, Tina Halsman, Diego Della Torre, and the only retirement, unfortunately, already is the Tuscan who had to start from the back of the grid, Nicola Lacorte. Nicola, who won at Imola back in May, or was it April in 2023, in his national series, is the sole retirement. The gap, 0.9 of a second. James, who already has won twice in the Euro 4 Championship. Stuka with a victory, Lindblad with a victory, Ugo twice. He won in the Euro 4 Championship as you look at Lindblad in 23. James looking to take his 3rd victory and shoot into the lead in this double points final round of the inaugural running of the Euro 4 Championship here in sunny Spain. Slater, P6 on the back of Ugachugo, both for the Prema Racing Team. That's Rashid Al-Bahedi going through the Emirati in position 10 in 14. First year rookie season for Rashid Al-Bahedi as it goes down into turn 10. Has dropped off somewhat from the Australian Marco Bradell. Ahead of Ricky Lou, Hodenues, Lunda, Nobels, Pedrini, Hausman, and Diego Della Torre. Slater slides sideways. Loses time to the American Ugachugo. A 42.907 last time. Brando, we know how quick Brando is, a 42.455. The fastest driver on the circuit. We'll check the gap as they come across this time. It was 0.6, then to 0.7, then to 0.9 of a second. James Wharton is now 1 second ahead of the pole sitter, Akshay Bora. Brundle, the fastest driver on the circuit. There is Bradell. Gianmarco in a rush to get by Zachary David. Yes, pun intended. I hope you like that, Jamie. Gianmarco on the back of Zach Brundle. He's pulling away, though, because he is the fastest driver on the circuit. There is Baduea on the back of Slater and Ugochukwu. The two US racing teammates inside the top 10. Zachary David, the Maltese-based Filipino driver. Bradell from Sydney, Australia. First year for the rookie in car racing. In car 12. Back to his countryman, James Wharton, the Ferrari Junior in P1. Approaching the second half of the first of 3 races this weekend. A tactical battle down into turn 2 as Tappanen has a big look at the back of Bora, but the fin was too far back. Turns in, uses the camber and the incline on this very undulating Barcelona circuit. Costa Brava just about 100 metres above sea level. Only a couple of miles, a couple of kilometres from the Spanish coast. In the Catalan capital, as we look at Baduea, the fastest driver on the circuit, on the back of Slater once again. Another purple sector for the Italian. Rides the ripple strip on the exit. There is Rashid in the background. Down into turn 1. Baduea will get the slipstream from Slater. There is Tappanen in car 8 in position 3. The gap comes down to 0.8 of a second now, but from Bora back to Wharton. Vice versa, I should say, from Wharton to Bora. Akshay with a 42.415. 0.2 of a second out of the Australian that time. A tactical battle and the opening of 3 races this weekend. This is the first Continental Championship running of the Euro 4 Championship. As we look at a close-up of James going through. Akshay in second. That is Tuka, shaking the life out of the rear suspension on the Tata's T421 chassis. The sawtooth curve here at Barcelona. The gap 0.8 of a second from Wharton to Bora. And Tuka Tappanen again has a look into turn 10. Back live with you here in Spain into the second half of the opening race, the Euro 4 Championship. There is Lindblad. Made his debut in Formula 4 at the end of 2022 on the podium in the WSK Supermaster Series, the International Super Cup. One of the few drivers in the field who have international experience in KZ2 gearbox racing, along with James, who finished 5th in the World Cup and has got the race lead. Stays at 0.8 of a second. A tactical battle here in Spain. Beautiful sunshine here in the Catalan capital as the field spread out, as we've seen over the years, if we are honest. Many a time in the Spanish Formula 1 Grand Prix. First held here in 1991, won by Il Leone, or the Lion, Nigel, after it was held at Jerez down in the south of Spain for many a year I should say. Previously at Montjuic, the street circuit, up until that ill-fated race in the mid-1970s. So now the tyres starting to burn, starting to get some life taken out of them. The Pirelli tyre, official tyre supplier for the Formula 4 Championship for many series across the world since the championship's inception, or the category's inception in 2014, as we go into 2024, the 11th season worldwide of Formula 4, which has raced in more than 20 countries around the world now, including in Britain, home nation for Arvid and Slater, who did race in 2 rounds of the British Series. Now Tappanen is starting to slide in car 8. We'll see if he can be caught by Baduea. There is Akshay Bora. Hasn't given up hope. Started from pole position, did the American, but the Australian has got the race lead. Starts at lap 10 at the gap, 1.1 seconds. James pulling away. Bora as hard as he possibly can, the pole sitter for US Racing. Can't catch the Ferrari Junior for the moment. There's the second Ferrari Junior. Tuukka Tappinen in P3. Lindblad still P4 for the Red Bull Junior. Tuukka Tappinen is now the fastest driver on the circuit as they now burn off fuel. 1:42.415, 42.49 for James, so virtually nothing in it. A class act for James Wharton. 2 times he has won in the Euro 4 Championship. Moves into the final third of this first of 3 races this weekend. His parents watching on live from late at night down in what we believe is a very windy Melbourne. Very windy, in fact. And his biggest supporter, his grandmother Sandra, also watching on as the clock ticks up close to midnight down in James's hometown. The gap 1.3 seconds now. Wharton looking good to take the championship lead as we go into race 2 tomorrow morning. Race 3 tomorrow afternoon. There is Tuukka, Lindblad and Uga Chukul, so the American losing time to the Brit. The McLaren Junior behind the Ferrari Junior, or the Red Bull Junior. The Ferrari Juniors first and third. Bora in second place. 1.5 seconds for James. He's pulling away. The final third of the opening of 3 races here this weekend. There is Brando. Super quick is the Italian, as he has been since the very beginning of his motor racing career. Multiple pole positions in qualifying, and we're talking 100 kart fields in WSK World Karting. Podiums as well, yes, but pole position after pole position he has taken. This is Brando Badoer, the second-generation racer, but at the moment can't get by fast Freddie Slater. James works the steering wheel down into turns 1 and 2 in what he is possibly, also for him, his final Formula 4 race. Certainly here on the European continent. Bora now 1.6 seconds back. Started from pole position, did Akshay, will start from pole position again for tomorrow morning's race 2. But as it stands, James Wharton, 65 points, add 50 to that, would move into the championship lead. A lock up from Slater. Brundle behind the Englishman. Freddie keeps it under control. Brando just a little bit too far back that time to capitalise. The English drivers ahead. Arvid in P4, Freddie in P6, the Italian in 7, the Australian in position 1. About to start lap 11, the final third of this 30-minute plus 1 lap race. There is Lindblad. Down into turn 1, closing up on the back of Tuukka Tappinen, and the gap between those 2 drivers stays exactly the same. A 42.47 last time round for Tuukka Tappinen. 42.49 for James. Comes down to 1.4 seconds though. Bora not letting the Australian pull away just yet. 8 minutes 45 plus 1 lap remaining. The first of 3 rounds, the inaugural running of the Euro 4 Championship. Slater going through in 51. The second running of the 2024 Euro 4 Championship. Incidentally, the calendar has been published. Provisionally, we will start in Budapest at the Hungaroring Formula 1 circuit on the 23rd of June. That is to be confirmed though. Regardless, we do race at Mugello in Tuscany on the 25th of August, at the fabulous Red Bull Ring in Austria on the 15th of September. And the final round will be at Monza, the home of the Italian Formula 1 Grand Prix, on the 6th of October, as you look at Gianmarco Pradel, still behind Zachary David. Rashid in position 10, still inside the points. Car 12 in P9 for Gianmarco. Looks to be back almost certainly in 2024. for another season of Formula 4 racing, including in the Euro 4 Championship. There's his countryman, position 1. The gap 1.4 seconds. James controlling the pace. Lindblad in P4 behind Tappanen. Can't make inroads on the former World Kart Racing champion, of which there are 2 in the field, including fast Freddie Slater. .47 seconds now between James and Akshay. This is Tappanen, the next big hope in Finnish motorsport. The country of just over 5 million or so. With the undecipherable, incomprehensible, with all due respect, Squoby language, had some lightning quick racing drivers over the years. Tuukka Tappanen looking to follow in the steps of Valtteri and Kimi. And of course, Mika, the Ferrari Junior, in position 3. Also for him, we believe, well, it's certainly his last Formula 4 race on the European continent, we'll say that. He's in position 3. There is Lindblad. A season and a half of racing for the British driver in P4 and car 23 for the Prema Racing team. There is the Londoner, the Red Bull Junior, trying to get by Tuukka Tappanen in what, in all honesty, hasn't been the most eventful race. But the points still do count. Double points this weekend, 50 of them coming James' way as the clock ticks under 6 minutes now. Bottoms out over the Ripple Strip. Does Arvid Lindblad down the start-finish straight, 236, 238 k's an hour through the speed trap. Down into turn 1. The gap 1.7 seconds now between James and Akshay. We know what happened at Paul Ricard in the south of France. James racing in the Italian National Series at the former home of the French Formula 1 Grand Prix. Dominated. Race 2 led up until the final corner when a failing fuel pump saw him coast across the line in second place. Absolutely devastated. Fought back though. Held his head up. Didn't dwell on it too long though. Was robbed of a victory through no fault of his own, so he won't be using the cliche counting the chickens or whichever term you'd like to use. Has got a nice lead, 1.7 seconds, but needs to take the checkered flag without a problem. Bora, the pole sitter in second. There is Lindblad, still in P4. As Bora now is the fastest on circuit. 42.9 last time, but he's done a 42.415. Half a second off the qualifying time that he set earlier on this morning. Really cool circuit. But Bora can't quite catch Morton. A couple of laps ago, the fastest on track. .9 seconds between James and Akshay. Down through the gearbox into turn 1 here in Barcelona, sideways on the exit. Nicely held by James, nicely turned in from Akshay. Keeps car 31 as straight as possible as they go up through the never-ending turn 3-4 section. Up into Repsol turn 5, otherwise known as the corner where Lewis and Nico came to grief in spectacular fashion and ended up in that gravel in the foreground. Who would forget that around about half a decade ago? James, it's 1.884 seconds. Bora in second place. The American will start from pole position for race 2 tomorrow morning. Akshay, 4th in the series, coming into this first of 3 races here in the final round this weekend on 71 points. James, a position behind on 65 points, but he's about to go to 115. You would think if they bottom out on the Ripple Strip, this deceptively undulating circuit down into turn 10. The best spectator point on the circuit, off screen to the left. Tappanen still on the podium. Barely a pass in this race, as we've seen many a year in the Spanish Formula 1 Grand Prix. Fabulous circuit, fabulous complex. built in the early 1990s to host the cycling in the 1992 Olympic Games. Did I say Olympic Grand Prix? There's an idea. Arvid, position 4. 0.5 of a second off the Finn in P3. The gap stays at 1.8 seconds. Lap 16, James with this under control. The dying stages of what has been a processional race 1. The final round of the Euro 4 Championship. The 3-round challenge for 2023, which will be back in 2024 provisionally at the Hungaroring circuit at Mugello, the Red Bull Ring in Austria, and the Cathedral of Speed for the final in 2024. Now Lindblad closes in on the back of Tappanen, who has tortured the rear tyres in car 8 throughout the race. Of course he has. He's finished every corner sideways slightly on the exit. He's quick, but it has cost him. And Lindblad now senses his chance to get up onto the podium. This is the Ferrari Junior James, looking to take the 7th victory in the 9-round Euro 4 Championship. Tappanen again floats it over the ripple strip down into turn 10. Lindblad, 23, closer than ever to the back of Tappanen. The gap just a couple of tenths. Wider line turn in from Tappanen. Lindblad keeps it tight. James down the hill, there's Akshay, Tuka, and David Lindblad. Just waiting for word from race control. We believe this is the penultimate lap of the race. 30 minutes plus 1 lap. The gap 1.7 seconds. There is Akshay. And there is Tuka. Ugachulko still in P5 from Slater, Badoer, Zachary David, Gianmarco Bradell, Aldehedi, Ricky Lou, Hadenuas, Nobels, Lund, Pedrini, Tinga Hausman, Diego Della Torre, and the sole retirement, Nicola Laporte. At least the Tuscan will have a fresher set of tyres for race 2 tomorrow morning. As now Tappanen closes in on the back of Bora. This is interesting because Lindblad has been fighting or trying to catch up to Tappanen, but in the meantime, Tuka has caught up to the back of the pole sitter. It's not over yet. So the last lap board will be displayed this time round. This is the penultimate lap of the race. Tappanen turns in, trying to catch up to Bora. So there's just over 5 kilometres to race. The gap 1.8 seconds from James to Akshay, Tuka and Arvid in P4. James, a perfect drive for the Australian, will take the championship lead into race 2 tomorrow morning, where Bora will start from pole position. You would think this is the last lap. L'ultima vuelta aquí en España. Hey, I tried. The last lap for race 1 here in Spain. James Wharton with a 1.9 second lead over the pole sitter, Bora, who checks the left side mirror. Tuka Tappanen, that's more to throw off Arvid Lindblad. Has to do more than that, though, to fool the Brit. At the moment, it's Tappanen on the podium. Lindblad, helpless in P4. Ugachulko, the McLaren Junior, in the background in 5th place. Wide line from Tuka Tappanen on this, the last lap of the race. James, half a lap away from victory. Cast your mind back. Or maybe check out the video on YouTube. Mika Häkkinen, just a few hundred metres away from victory in the Spanish Grand Prix back in 1990-something when it stopped. His car stalled within sight of the checkered flag. James will hoping that history does not repeat. The Australian is just half a lap away from victory in the first of 3 races here this weekend. The Ferrari Junior with a faultless drive. His teammate, the second Ferrari Junior, Tuka Tappanen, as car 8 bottoms out over the ripple strip down into turn 10. The last real passing opportunity of the lap. Tuka Tappanen too far back to attack. Akshay Bora in second place. The American will start from pole position for race 2. He started from pole position for race 1, but had no answer to the awesome Aussie. James can coast from here. Yes, Shane and Jeanette, your boy will win. A perfect drive, absolutely faultless. The sun is shining here in Spain, and the Ferrari Junior from Melbourne, Australia, takes victory in the first of 3 races here this weekend in the Euro 4 Championship final. Bora, second place, and Tuukka Tappinen does hold off Lindblad for P4. Ugachuko, Badoer, Slater, Zach, Gianmarco Pradel, Rashid Al-Dahedi, and Ricky Liu, the Chinese driver, just misses the points behind the Emirati. Car 66 in P11. James wins, and with that has jumped into the lead, has leapfrogged. This is provisional because my mathematics is less than poor. Will lead the championship going into race 2 tomorrow morning. A perfect drive from grid 2. And he wins the first of the weekend. There is 2 cars, so the 2 Ferrari Juniors, the 2 Prema Racing Team drivers on the podium. James first, Tuukka Tappinen in P3, split by the American Akshay Bora for US Racing, who will also get a chance for redemption with pole position for race 2 tomorrow morning, the penultimate race of the season in the European continent. In the end, 2.1 seconds. So it is Australia, the British licensed driver, but he is born and bred in New York, United States of America. Akshay in second place, and the Finn, Tuukka Tappinen P3. Then it's Arvid, Ugo, Brandor from Freddie, Zach, Gianmarco Pradel, and Rashid Al-Dahedi in the points in P10. Just missing out on P10 was Ricky Liu, Hodenuus, Nobels, Lund, Giacomo Pedrini with Van Amersfoort Racing, Tin Halsman, Diego Della Torre. They are AKM Motorsport drivers, the only retirement, Nicola Lacorte, who was out on the opening lap of the race. Nicola will have a fresh set of Pirelli tyres for race 2 tomorrow morning. A race winner in his national series, so we'll watch Nicola in race 2. We'll also watch James, who now we believe is provisionally the championship leader of the Euro 4 Championship final. The awesome Aussie takes P1 here in sunny Spain. Akshay in second place. Slightly disappointed, but he's certainly in contention for the inaugural running of this, the Euro 4 Championship. On you, James. Nice drive, mate, from grid 2. He takes victory. Third place to his Ferrari Prema Racing teammate, Tuukka Tappinen, in car 8, in position 3. Akshay Bora swamped off the start, fought back well, and he comes home in second place for the German-US Racing team here in Spain, though. It is the awesome Aussie who started out of grid 2, the Ferrari Junior with his 3rd victory in the Euro 4 Championship, the United Arab Emirates Formula 4 champion as well. And we believe now the provisional championship leader of the Euro 4 Series with 2 races to run tomorrow. So James now with 3 victories in the series, Casper with 1, Ugo with 2. And there to the left of your screen, there is a smiling Arvid Lindblad, the only other race winner in the Euro 4 Series. Akshay to the right of screen. highlights of race 1 here in Spain. Akshay Bora from pole position. Didn't make a bad start, but James launched off the line from grid 2. Bora tried to defend, but the Australian was down the inside. Tuka Tappinen around the outsiders. Lindblad tried to take all 3 of them. The Red Bull Junior, very, very briefly, actually went into turn 1 in position 1. Was back to 4th place, though. It was a messy start, which was initially under investigation. Wharton with the race lead from Bora. Tappinen and then Lindblad. Initially, the pole sitter was trying to pressure James Wharton, but he was absolutely faultless, pulling away. The gap going from 6 tenths to 9 tenths to over 1 second. And from there, he would pull away to take the race win. Good battle from Brundle Badoer and Freddie Slater. Brundle, as he has been throughout 2023, often putting in fastest lap after fastest lap. The McLaren-affiliated driver. But out front, James Wharton, unstoppable. And he's now the championship leader, looking to take his 2nd Formula 4 title for 2023. P1 for the Ferrari Junior.
Bravo. T1 is under the...
The podium coming your way here in Spain in just a moment. Of course, race 2 tomorrow morning at just after 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, local time. And the final race on the European continent in the Euro 4 Championship at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon here in the Catalan capital. Tuka Tappinen, the Ferrari Junior from Finland. Another driver having his final professional weekend in Formula 4. P3, Akshay Bora. Also the first rookie home. There's 10 rookies in the field. P2 for the pole sitter, James. P1 for his 3rd victory in the Euro 4 Championship for 2023. Mr. Luca De Dono, the president of WSK Promotion, presenting the 3rd place trophy to Tuka. 2nd to Akshay, and P1 for James Wharton. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for race 2 tomorrow morning.